Okay, here we go, playing a guy named Gecko65, I think, and looks like he's from Italy. He is rated 1692. And my rating is still lower than I'd like it to be, and lower than it was before. After my horrendous losing streak, I lost like 15 games in a row or something. Um, I mean, like I said before, just like between mouse slips and stuff. But I'm gonna come back, so maybe I can get some good tactics going or something. So this is my London system, kind of best way I could get it. Basically, the goal is to just develop into the center and then work towards a kingside attack as much as possible. C3 is kind of a waiting move. I want him to take my knight because then my bishop can take. Now I kind of want to force things to happen. So I'm gonna maneuver my knight to h3, and then maybe play something like knight d to f3 to g5. Yeah, and try to make something happen. I really don't like it when things are just basically the way they are now, kind of static, and I mean there's a lot of possibilities for trades. I do have a tactic here, one that generally comes up against the tactic I was talking about is I could have played knight takes f7, because I'm hitting his queen and it opens the discovery on his undefended bishop on d6. But instead, I'm going to do this. If he plays f6, okay, that's okay. Unfortunately, I don't really have much to work with here, so I'd like to kick his knight out of e5 if possible, or e4, I mean. I'm going to take there, and then follow it up with f3, because his knight doesn't have too many squares to go to. He has to go into d2, and then I can play rook f2, and then his knight goes back to c4. I guess he could go to g5 if he wanted to, but I mean what I'd like to do is, I mean if he goes to knight g5, bishop takes g5, and then e4. Oh, this just helps me out. I want to open the f file as much as possible, and here my queen is guarding e3, so he doesn't have an intermezzo check. He could play d takes e4 here, so I'm not too worried about that though. I think queen takes is probably better, because that way he has no checks in the future, and I really don't want him to have any checks. Now my bishop can maybe slide into h5 and then go to g6. He stopped that idea. Let's see, now I'm threatening to come into e6 with check, so he doesn't want to allow me to do that. Yep. Okay, now maybe bishop c4. Interesting here, if he plays bishop d5, I can play bishop takes d5, and he can't take back with the pawn because it's pinned to his queen, and then I win his e4 pawn. I mean, it's not too important that I win his e4 pawn. It's just I could win it. I got a little greedy and I just took his e4 pawn, but should be okay, I think. Let's see, possible ideas for me. Let's see if I can come up with any. I'm up in exchange right now. Don't really remember how that happened, but I am. So, see, his knight is pinned. Well, I mean, it's not pinned, but like if it moves, it can really only go to f6. Otherwise, it cuts off the defense of his bishop. I guess I could I could double up my rooks, so that would probably be a good plan here. If he moves his knight to attack my queen, I mean g6 is a good square for my queen, I would say. So I guess I could slide into there if he plays knight f6. I mean, I have a good position here, so I think I should be able to win this somehow. It's not clear how I could win it yet, but if you don't see a clear way to win, a lot of times you can just find a way to improve your piece positions. Like, kind of like the way I put my bishop on c4 to attack his isolated e-pawn, and now I'm doubling my rooks, which is helpful. And through the plan of getting your pieces to a better square, you can come up with a plan to win. So it looks like he got a little tactic going on me, but that's okay. I have a little counter tactic here I could do. Bishop takes check. If he plays queen takes, then his bishop hangs. So that works. Does he have any checks after king h1? Kind of deadly for me either way, if he does get a check in there. Well, I wasn't worried about the knight check, I was more worried about a queen check, so. Yes, he did have a check, and it was a knight check, so no big deal. Let's see. If I can slide my queen into... Okay, so I have this check. So I do have to be careful because he has a threat of checkmate, which is queen h4 check, and then queen h1 check is mate. So I can't take his rook, so that would be no good. So instead, I'm going to offer a queen trade. Queen h5 check doesn't do anything, I don't think, because I can just take his knight on g3. So I should be okay. Yeah. And I'm on his knight at the same time, so I think he's forced to trade queens here, which is good because I'm up material. What you want to do is when you're up material, trade. So I'm sure most of you have heard that or already know that somewhere. So yep. So we're trading queens. So now I'm up in exchange in an ending. So it could be worse. Could be better. Could be worse. Whatever. But I should be able to convert this into a victory. I didn't want to move my rook because no matter where I put it, it would be in a bad spot. It would be in a passive spot, so that's why instead I pinned the knight. Because, I mean, it's a lot easier to play with an active piece than a passive piece. Especially when you have a passed pawn. So now, I mean, passed pawns must be pushed, so I'm just going to start pushing my pawn. I'd rather not give up any of my pawns here, because that would give him a lot of counterplay. So instead I'm going to try to force his knight to move. Okay, good. Now I'm just going to push my pawn. And now I'm on his g7 pawn, so that's good. And if he pushes, I can cut his king off, so that works out perfectly. Now I'm threatening to push my pawn, which would be deadly for him. Now I am going to push my pawn. And now when I threaten his knight, I'm going to win his knight. Because I cut off his king, he has no way to defend it. Okay, so he resigned, so I guess I'm on a winning streak. Perfect. I'd rather upload wins than losses, but I'm not partial either way. Unless it's like a really stupid loss, like I mouse slip into a checkmate or something. But alright, on to the next game.